good evening. Tonight I want to have a little talk about some videos that surfaced a couple of months ago, and this has happened a few times. A couple of months ago, some videos surfaced of Patriot Front, a white supremacist organization doing some training exercises, like pushing up against each other in like a human shield type format. Looked very goofy. A lot of people had laughs about it, etc. And this isn't the first time that a far right training video has come out that looked pretty silly. It's happened with Patriot Front. It has happened with the Proud Boys, and laughs are had by all. And that's all well and good. But I feel as though there's an aspect to those that's been missed by people who are happy to just find it as entertaining and write them off as goofy. And that is, I believe those trainings serve a much more important purpose for those organizations, and that there's something to be learned from that. I don't think that they are counting on the efficacy of any of those training methods. I genuinely don't. Rather, I think that the act of having those trainings is part of just building community. This is a topic that has been on my mind a lot as I've been researching for my next video essay, which is very much centered on the systemic destruction of communities within the United States and various policies that have fragmented and atomized all of society. And as I've studied that, I've also been studying those communities which do still exist in various forms. Some of them exist out of necessity to survive in a hostile nation, a nation that is hostile to their very existence. This is things like the queer community, communities of color, etc. Those form as a reaction, a necessary reaction, in order to build some sort of existence, as some sort of ability to survive and thrive, or at least, not be completely divided and crushed. But the flip side of that is communities which form to maintain a power structure. And I'm using the word community very specifically here, in that it is a group that does show up for each other. They do share ideas, they share practices, etc. And the thing that really made me want to make this video in particular is very recently, in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian, I was called on by my good friend Aston Mack to help unload a truck of food pallets. And there weren't too many people that actually showed up to do that. There were some, there were enough of us. But I suppose this is a long-winded way of saying we need to learn from the actual goal of those sort of training things. The purpose of them is that is a group, but they have a list of people that when they want to go and make a presence somewhere, if they want to make noise somewhere, they have a call list of people they know will show up. And I think that this is really important for people on the left, especially those who are just more online and such, is you need to question yourself and say, do I have a community? Do I have a list of people? Do I have a call list? Am I on anyone's call list for when it's go time to actually show up to do something? And if you don't, maybe take steps to remedy that. I know I have a few people that I would absolutely call in a heartbeat if when I need something, and when I want a presence somewhere, whether it be a protest or an event, a food distribution, what have you. And I know I'm on several people's call lists for the same purposes. But I fear that there are a lot of people on the left who their heart's in the right place, but the next step is actually having some sort of community structure. Now, it doesn't have to be, making weird, goofy, military LARPing in a forest or whatever. Rather, it should be built around, obviously the goal is things like mutual aid. You can't necessarily do that all the time. And having a community that builds itself around other things also is beneficial. So, maybe tie it to something else as well, whether that be a book club or some sort of hobby club, or, trying to set up some sort of potluck is a great way of doing it, like once a month. Just have a meet, and form those bonds, those social bonds, that community. And in doing that, in having those friendships established, in having that understanding that you will show up for those people, they will show up for you, that becomes a force multiplier for any sort of activism you want to do, for any sort of structures you want to set up, for any sort of mutual aid you want to actually carry out. So as much fun as it is to just laugh at some of those goofy videos, I think that this point should not be understated. Those groups on the far right, they are able to affect a larger influence than their meager numbers should permit. And that's because they are able to actually form these groups, and they do show up for each other. They are not like super well organized, like in a military effectiveness sort of capacity. They don't have that sort of strength, but what they do have is in-group solidarity. And sure, on the left, we may have solidarity of ideals, but we have to be able to translate that into showing up in person, putting our skin in the game, and actually getting stuff done. So, anyway, that's just been on my mind. It was two thoughts that were kind of incongruent, where on the one hand, this group with really shitty ideas is able to get, a dozen people to show up in the desert to do really lame paramilitary LARPing. And on the other hand, it was like pulling teeth to actually get people to show up to unpack pallets of food for a community in need in the aftermath of a hurricane. And that shouldn't be the case. I'm certainly going to be trying to expand my network of people that I can call on and people that I know can show up so that I can better support those sorts of efforts. And I encourage all of you to do the same. Good night. Final note, before I forget, I've been meaning to make one of these epilogues. I want to say thank you to my first 2 patrons on Patreon, Consuela Blanche and Pepper. Appreciate both of you for helping to support the channel. I'm going to be trying a few of these shorter vlog things in between producing actual video essays, so look forward to that. Yeah, that's all. Take care.